Madam Clerk, the Cuyahoga County Human Resources Appointments and Equity Committee is called to order. Would you please call the roll?
As a reminder to all in attendance, this meeting is being recorded and live streamed on the county's YouTube page. Calling the roll, Ms. Turner,
Here.
Mr. Gallagher, Mr. Miller,
Here.
Ms. Conwell. Ms. Conwell is absent. Mr. Sweeney,
Present.
you have a quorum.
Thank you. Is there any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one has signed in.
Okay, well then, can I have a motion to approve the minutes from the April 2nd meeting?
So moved.
I have a second? Been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, the first item will be taken out of order, item 5C, Resolution 2024-0110, confirming the county executive's appointment of Thomas Yablonsky to serve on the Cuyahoga County Monument Commission for the term March 1st, 2024 through February 28th, 2027.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Good morning.
On behalf of the county executive and pursuant to Cuyahoga County Charter Section 206.10, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Thomas Yablonsky to serve on the Monument Commission of Cuyahoga County for the term that started March 1st, 2024 and will end February 28th, 2027. Mr. Yablonsky will be replacing Joe Paulson, and he's here for his presentation. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Please state your full name for the record.
Thomas J. Yablonsky.
How are you this morning?
Good, good. Welcome.
What would you like to share with us?
Well, I'm very interested in this. I have a 40-plus year career in historic preservation and community development and nonprofit management. I was full-time till November of 2021, but continue to serve in a couple of advisory positions, including for the Downtown Cleveland Alliance on historic preservation and project development. And I'm the founder and vice chairman of Canalway Partners, which is the nonprofit primarily responsible for the Towpath Trail and the National Heritage Area. So I have a significant interest. Other than 6 years that I lived professionally and working on 2 graduate degrees in Indiana, I'm a lifelong Cleveland area resident.
Okay, well, thank you for your service. Any questions from my colleagues while they're thinking about that? What are, do you have any ideas about how we can improve the
I'm actually
effectiveness of the commission?
working on a couple of monument issues right now as a consultant. One is to create an Olympic Plaza that recognizes all the Olympians that are from Northeast Ohio with Ted Theodore. Hopefully that'll get located in Rockefeller Park to the south of the existing Jesse Owens Plaza with the sapling or tree that just got dedicated last year. Also working as a board member on Canal Basin Park, which is the end of the Towpath Trail. And there's some potential for some physical historic markers and monuments to tell Cleveland's industrial history story. So, I have ideas, and there's a couple of monuments in my mind or maybe could be in better spots to where they're significant. Well, one is, I probably shouldn't overspeak, but one's the Jesse Owens statue at West 3rd. He has no physical relationship to West 3rd and Lakeside, and there's some thought to put him in a more appropriate place given his history.
As well.
Yep.
Any
By joking, by the way, I created the Take Hike program, historic tours, about 16 years ago. One of our tours is called the Monumental Tour. And in our script for that tour, we call that park the Island of
Misfit monuments.
misplaced statues, I think, or monuments, much like the Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer claymation.
Misfit Island.
Misfit Island of Misfit Toys, that one is. So anyway, that actually is a great public space, and I was involved many years ago as director of the Warehouse District to try to amplify the space and hold some small concerts there, which I think now happens. But that was like 30 years ago, so I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Councilman Sweeney?
Madam Chairwoman, Mr. Yablonsky, how are you?
Good to see you, Marty.
To everybody, I've known him for 30 years, and
You know me since you shot baskets.
yes, maybe more. But I'm just saying, there's nobody better than this for you. Thank you for doing it. You never stop. I'm wondering when you're going to retire. But for you, when we had the last monument appointee, we found out that we don't have a full catalog of all our monuments.
No.
And you're
Okay.
taking it to a whole nother level, placing them where there should be an appropriate spot.
you.
So I'm excited that you're going to be here. I know when you're involved with something, there's attention to it, there's a game plan, there's a drive, and there's a result. And I know you haven't changed. There is one downside, though, Madam Chairwoman, to him. He likes Jay Westbrook. Would that be accurate?
That would be accurate.
Oh,
So do I, though.
I love Jay Westbrook. He lives in my district now.
We gave Jay
Hey,
Westbrook
hey.
a shout out.
Now lives on the east side.
Now he's on
Yes.
East, I think he's a spy, though. He took all our West Side secrets, and he went to Shaker.
Anyway, just so you know, I'm a 39-year resident of West Boulevard
Yes,
in a historic house.
and I happen to be his council person, so thank you
Yeah, I
for,
wooed Jay over to Ward 4.
oh, we didn't franchise him. We really didn't want to franchise him. But thank you, and thank you, Tom,
You're welcome.
for doing everything.
Any other questions for our nominee this morning? Okay, and I know you have to run, so we look forward
Thank you
to working with you. Thank you for your service and
for taking me early too, so I can keep a doctor's appointment.
absolutely.
Great.
So I'll make a motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading, approval under suspension of the rules. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Please add my name.
Please add Councilman Sweeney's names, as well as my own, Councilman Miller, and Councilman Gallagher.
Noted, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Madam Chair, the next item will also be taken out of order. Item 5F, Resolution 2024-0119, confirming the county executive's appointment of Dr. Melanie Golembiowski to serve on the Cuyahoga County Women's Health Commission for the term May 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2025.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the county executive and pursuant to Section 206.03 of the Cuyahoga County Code, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Dr. Melanie Golembiowski to the Women's Health Commission for an initial one-year term that will start May 1st, 2024. We are requesting a second reading suspension, and Dr. Golembiowski is appearing via Zoom this morning.
Good morning, Doctor. Could state your name for the record, please?
Well, my first name is Melanie. My last name is Golembiowski.
And it is such an honor to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me by Zoom. I really appreciate that option.
I know that you are busy doing things, so it's fine. All right. What would you like to tell us?
Well, I am a board certified family physician. I've been in practice for about 10 years. And I'm also a board certified preventive medicine and public health physician. I did my training here in Cleveland at University Hospitals for both of my residencies. And then I had the privilege of working alongside many public health professionals, both within the city public health department as well as the county health department during part of my training. In my current role, I am the chief medical officer at Neighborhood Family Practice. So we are a federally qualified health center on the near west side of Cleveland, serving mainly patients from our surrounding neighborhoods, but we take care of people from all across the county who may not have access to healthcare due to not having insurance or having some difficulties financially. We're able to kind of offset some of the cost of care for medical services. And so I've worked here for almost 9 years and currently in my current role as chief medical officer for the past 2 years. I'm very honored to be asked to serve in this role. The health of women and children is often a sign of equality and safety within a county, a city, a state, a nation. And so how we care for our women is so critically important for not only the health of our community, but the health of those individual families currently, but also for generations to come. So I'm very excited to be able to sit with the other women on that collective and kind of work together toward improving health.
Well, thank you. And so I'm going to ask you the same question that I asked all the other commissioners.
Yeah.
This is a new commission.
Okay.
What are some of the first issues that you would like the commission to address?
So I think everyone, having an understanding of the general health status of the women in our community, but also understanding the health status that's different across populations, be it by race, ethnicity, or language, is really important. And then being able to look at access for healthcare and just kind of putting on my healthcare space. I know there's many women that are on that commission that have a different lens, but in looking through the healthcare lens, it's ensuring that there's access to care. And that access will look at equity across those markers is really important, I think.
So that's kind of a broad
Mhm.
talk to me a little bit more about what equity looks like from your perspective.
Yeah, I think it's understanding the unique individual needs or barriers for different groups, understanding who needs, who needs what. It's not a blanket offering of something, but kind of how can we make these things accessible and better for the groups that need them the most, and understanding their unique barriers to healthcare.
Okay, thank you. I'll open it up to my colleagues for any questions.
I'll just give a shout out.
Councilman? Okay.
Thank you. I'm Sweeney, Marty Sweeney, the family practice. You guys just rock with
Oh, great, thank you.
because up on Puritas, now you're coming into CVS,
Yes.
right? And that's just so exciting to move out of the 117th was great, really tight, but right now it's going to be almost twice as big, a comfortable
Yeah.
place to go, and just keep up the great work. And it's a pleasure to have you
Thank
guys
you.
so
That's-
much in my district.
Thank you. That's my home site where I practice at, and we are busting at the seams. So we're really excited to be able to move, and then we're just really excited to, at some interval, be able to expand pharmacy access. As many people know, that's been a rapid change where we've had kind of pharmacies being pulled out of the areas that we serve, and people are having limited access to getting their medications or what they might need. So at some interval after we open the primary care and the dental site, we'll be able to open a pharmacy in that space too. So I'm
Yeah.
excited for that.
And just through the chair, thank you for that excitement in your voice. And with the Women's Health Commission, that's just something that's off the charts necessary. And your focus, I mean, you're busy there. When you start something that's important, there's a lot of upfront work. Are you going to be able to balance it?
Yeah, I'll do my very best, and I think that was kind of the discussion around kind of getting more information in the beginning with talking some of the group members from the county council and kind of hearing a little bit more. I spent some time talking with them to kind of understand what they envision from this. So yeah, I will do my very best.
I wasn't challenging. I'm just
Oh, no,
recognizing the upfront efforts by this
Yeah.
incredible group of individuals that's going to get this. And my hope is from the announcement, it's a commission that gets the respect it deserves and gives it the authority to get what is necessary to be done. And I thank you for your leadership on that. And I know you're going to have the support with the administration and council to get this to where it needs to be under your guidance. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Just one more quick question for you. I don't want to belabor this. You're obviously more than qualified. And I noticed that you did a lot of work around shifting delivery of services during the pandemic. And I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about what you are now seeing. Are we still utilizing virtual visits and telemedicine as much as we were during the pandemic, or do you see that kind of staying?
It's definitely something that we still utilize at our practice. We've found there are some barriers to technology with some of our patients. We do serve a large population of non-English speakers. We are the site that refugees will come for their domestic medical exam screening when they come into our county and the Cleveland area. We're the practice that provides that service. So many of our patients, it's our goal to have them stay with us for primary care after they do that screening. And so as you can imagine, language barrier, cultural barrier, there's some difficulties with doing telemedicine visits. So we did see a big pushback to in-office visits, and we've been trying to balance the utilization and the need. But it is something that patients can access if they need that.
Okay. There is nothing further for the doctor. We will release you back to service.
All right,
And again, thank you for agreeing to serve this term. We look forward to hearing more about how your work on the commission is going once you get started. So let's see, I am going to move this item to the full body of council for second reading, approval under suspension of the rules. May I have a second?
Second, please add my name.
And please add Councilman Miller's name as well as my own.
And mine, since she's in my district.
Councilman Sweeney and Councilman Gallagher. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. All right, take care.
Okay, we'll return to item 5A on the agenda, Resolution 2024-0053, confirming the county executive's appointment of Scott Pyfo to serve on the Cuyahoga County Advisory Board on Senior and Adult Services for the term January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2026.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the county executive and pursuant to Cuyahoga County Charter Section 6.04, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Scott Pyfo to serve on the Cuyahoga County Advisory Board on Senior and Adult Services for a 3-year term that started January 1st, 2024 and will end December 31st, 2026. Mr. Pyfo will be replacing Heidi Loom. Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Scott Pyfo. I'm the interim CEO of Asian Services in Action. Asia has traditionally had a seat on the advisory board, and with the staff changes, with Heidi leaving us, my chief of that division asked me to step in to take the position. Asia has been around since 1995. We've been in Cuyahoga County since the late aughts, and a key part of our work is our work with Asian seniors. Both in our experience, and the literature backs it up, that Asian American seniors, especially those with limited English proficiency, have heightened risk of isolation and other social determinants of health. And so we have been doing senior programs for basically as long as we've existed.
All right, so please tell us what insights are you able to bring to this advisory board?
Like I said, the main insight is, and especially as Cuyahoga County has become increasingly a site for refugee settlement, the need for programs specific to people with limited English proficiency who are at increased risk for being isolated. When we first started, a lot of our service population were immigrants, and we would see a dynamic where, for instance, a family would come over that speaks pretty good English. They're like middle class, they get H-1B visas or green cards, but they bring grandparents over. And then the grandparents get isolated from the family one way or another, and it's extremely isolating. It's hard when you're, I know because I've tried it, it's hard when you're older to learn a new language. It's hard when you're older to hold on to a second or third language that you've learned. So the language proficiency is going down at the same time that the need for social connection is going up, and just most of our elder programs have been about social connection. We do elder health in our clinic. We run an FQHC in Asiatown. We do elder health there. One piece that we're working on right now is in that area there is a need for in-language physical therapy, because physical therapy population tends to be older. We have language capability in our clinic for a number of languages, especially in Cleveland. We have language capability in Chinese and Korean. And then we use language line for other things, for if somebody comes in speaking a language we don't have capacity for at the time. Really hard to do language line in physical therapy. It's not just sitting in a room and getting history. You're going from machine to machine, explaining exercises that have to be done a certain way to prevent further injury. And it's really hard to do that without somebody who speaks the language live there. In addition, there's just not much physical therapy available in Asiatown. So that's one of the things we're looking at right now, is trying to get funding to establish something like that. So like as we go through, we're currently focused on the elder population in Asiatown. That's our main population, but we're increasingly working with refugee populations throughout Cuyahoga County, as we do in Summit.
Okay. I'm Meredith. Can I call you Scott?
Absolutely.
Okay, Scott. Okay, quick question for you. And yes, I mean to put you on the spot. As we have a large county, 59 communities, I like some of these strategies that you're implementing in Asiatown. And as a former special education teacher who had to accommodate learning and Joseph Gallagher, so a lot of languages in my classroom as well. How do we take a model like what you're doing in Asiatown and kind of, duplicate that or put that in other communities around the county?
A lot of it is about finding the people from the community who have reached a point where they're able to do some of the work. Like a lot of our staff, particularly in Akron, comes from, in Akron and in Summit County, our populations are primarily, up to this point, have been primarily Nepali-speaking Bhutanese, Swahili-speaking Congolese, and Karen. And we've always been more successful when we've been able to employ people from those communities. Number one, they speak the language, and these are not languages that are normally taught, like at university level. So they're hard languages to find capacity for. Number two, they know what those folks have been through. Like there's a collective trauma that they've been through that has displaced them. So for refugees in particular, I think that service, and also like we're doing workforce development at the same time in those communities. So like most of our medical assistants in Summit County are Nepali speaking. So that's the big thing. I'm very enthused about the County International Welcome Center in Old Brooklyn.
Reading my mind.
Yeah, I think that's a great model because it enables a group like mine to establish a presence over there before we're able to put together the resources to do brick and mortar over there ourselves. So we're very pleased about that. We're looking forward to getting the MOU and getting our staff over there.
Glad to hear it. I'll open it up for questions to my colleagues if there are any. And looks like there are none. So we will release you as well, because the sun is shining in Cuyahoga County for a change, and you don't want to be in here. So thank you again for your service. I'm excited to hear about the work that you're hopefully going to be doing over in our Welcoming Center. I was going to put the administration on blast and ask them if they had any thoughts, but we'll hear more from you on this, okay? So I am going to make a motion to move this to the full body of council for second reading, approve on the suspension of the rules. May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good day.
Resolution 2024-0109, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Susan Infeld to serve on the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation Board of Trustees for the term January 2nd, 2024 through January 1st, 2027.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the county executive and pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 1724, I'm here to recommend the reappointment of Susan Infeld to the Cuyahoga County Community Improvement Corporation for a term that started on January 2nd, 2024 and will end on January 1st, 2027. We are requesting a second reading suspension. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Mayor.
Thank you. Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, council members, committee members. I'm Susan Infeld. I currently work at the County Planning Commission as the manager of planning initiatives. And although you've seen me before at a few of these appointments, I thought maybe I would just give you a brief rundown of my background so that you have a sense of who I am, what I've done, and how I can contribute to the county's Community Improvement Corporation. I have 20 years of elective service in University Heights as a mayor and as a councilwoman. And during that time, I researched, negotiated, and legislated on behalf of large development projects, some of which included the redevelopment of Cedar Center in University Heights, multiple development and expansion projects of John Carroll University, the redevelopment of Fairmount Circle, numerous church and synagogue and private and public school building and expansion projects, including the relocation of Heights High from Cleveland Heights to University Heights. And then I'd also like to mention that I was involved as a council member and then later as mayor on the University Square development, the first TIF in Cuyahoga County, the second in the state of Ohio. And I bring that up specifically because sometimes these projects go awry. They don't always work the way we think when they begin. And I think that my experience with seeing how that happens is helpful when we see projects come to the Community Improvement Corporation. So besides that, in University Heights, I chaired the city's planning commission and the Board of Zoning Appeals, looking at land use and zoning issues for those development projects previously mentioned, but for other things such as commercial strip developments, home builds and additions, things like that. For the County Planning Commission, I work on projects to benefit the communities of Cuyahoga County. A couple of them are guidebooks that I've written. One is a special improvement district guidebook, and a special improvement district is an economic development tool developed by the state of Ohio that gives property owners within the designated district the ability to tax themselves for amenities and improvements made to that district. Another one of the guidebooks that I've written is a community reinvestment area guidebook, again, an economic development tool offered by the state of Ohio that's used to encourage building improvements and to bring businesses, jobs, and employment to these designated areas. Many communities in our county are designated or have parts of their communities designated already as community reinvestment areas. But for those that don't, they'll be able to look at this guidebook, and it's a step-by-step instruction guide based on the state law of what they can do. Personally, I have a degree in finance, and I'm certified as an economic development finance professional through the National Development Council. And with your approval of my reappointment, I look forward to continuing to assist the County Department of Development and the County Council as you consider adding money to the development projects that are brought to the Community Improvement Council for consideration. Interestingly, as I listened to the prior speakers, Neighborhood Family Practice was one of the projects that came to the CIC, and we recommended approval, and I believe you all did too. So I'm here to answer any questions, and I've really appreciated being able to serve on this commission, and I'd like to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Any questions from my colleagues? What are you working on? Or worked on recently?
Recently, well, an interesting thing, working downtown, and now that it's beautiful out, as you said, and going out for walks at noon hour, when I walk by the old Renaissance Hotel that is now renamed as the, I believe, Hotel Cleveland, that was one of the projects.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, of course, I'm going blank as I think of these. We worked on the cold storage for Orlando Baking, that was another project. Thinking as I walk downtown, sometimes I'll see a project and I think that was something that came before us. The Centro Via on West 25th, that was a project that came before us. And the CIC has a membership of people with varied backgrounds. So it's really interesting to see, just like, on a council, you see the interplay of that experience and people's reactions to the projects and how they see them developing and what they can be. And also the pointed questions that people ask based on their backgrounds and, their knowledge base.
Okay. Well, you've been around the block a few times here. Opportunities and challenges. What do we do well? What could we do better?
I'd like to answer the challenge part first. I'm sure that a challenge is not only just bringing businesses here, but making them aware that the county's here to help them. Because that's not something that I personally had known in terms of these development projects, before I became involved with this commission. And I'm sure that that is a constant effort to make sure that that people are aware, because you just don't know what great ideas out there and what will really be the catalyst to a particular neighborhood to allow them to grow and prosper. And then so that was the challenges, and the opportunities, they're there. I think the county is very accommodating. The Department of Development has a wonderful staff that combs through these projects to make sure that they are as financially strong as they can be before they come to the CIC. And then the CIC, reanalyzes all of that. And so we don't always look at a project and initially accept it. Sometimes we send it back, and we send it back again and again. And that recently happened with a project involving the purchase of developmental disabilities building in East Cleveland. That circumstances changed for the person who brought the project to the county, so that it ultimately, right now, was not recommended to the council by the CIC. But part of that process, going through the iterations and watching them make the changes, it unfortunately did not make the project stronger. But I think that, as I said, the Department of Development staff has been wonderful. And, they do their analysis, and then the CIC separately does its own. So I think it's a nice check and balance for the council, that that it's had multiple thorough reviews anytime you see a project come before you.
Any questions? Okay. Well, again, the sun is shining, and I'm going to let you out of here. I always think of you affectionately with Maze on the Heights.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, taking us back a little bit.
Right.
But again, I want to thank you for your continued service, and I will make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading, approve under suspension of the rules. Do I have a second?
Second, and please add my name.
And please add my name.
Add
Well, thank
everyone's name. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Resolution 2024-0113, confirming the county executive's appointment of Mark McHale to serve on the Commission on Human Rights for the term March 1st, 2024 through February 28th, 2026.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the county executive and pursuant to Cuyahoga County Charter Section 206.13, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Mark McHale to serve on the Commission of Human Rights for a term that started March 1st, 2024 and will end February 28th, 2026. Mark will be replacing Elise Auville. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning.
Morning, Ms. Turner. My name is Mark McHale. I'll just have a few remarks, and then I'm happy to answer any questions. I was asked to share some remarks, so from a young age, I have always been drawn to stories of immigrants like my parents and those in Cuyahoga County who came to this country, came to this county with little means, with little support, and I was captivated by the struggle of trying to achieve equality and justice. As I delved deeper into the complexities of the legal system, I eventually went to law school and in my now 11th year of practice of law, and I have discovered over the past decade that human rights laws, panels for arbitration, commissions for human rights such as this, offer a powerful framework for effecting meaningful change and combating systemic oppression.
Yeah, okay.
One of the key aspects that draws me to this commission is its universality. Regardless of nationality, race, gender, or socioeconomic status, human rights are fundamental entitlements that belong to every individual by virtue of our humanity. This recognition of one's inherent rights serves as a beacon that I believe will aid in reducing inequality and discrimination, which we continue to see at a large rate in today's society, unfortunately. When I was asked to come and speak here, I was very privileged because from my vantage point, advocating for those, even if as a commission member and not as a lawyer or as an advocate in the classical sense, will allow me to make a tangible difference in the lives of folks, whether those individuals are new immigrants or longtime Cuyahoga County residents, in a way that can magnify their daily life and aid future generations. I'm happy to answer any questions now, Ms. Turner.
Okay. Thank you for that statement. And my question for you is, this is a reappointment, so thank you for your service thus far.
Sorry, Councilwoman, it's a new appointment for Mark.
Oh, sorry.
You're okay.
Wait, am I in the right
He's
place?
replacing Elise
I'm
Otho.
I'm in the wrong place.
No worries.
You're right, Mike King. I'm sorry. Is he back there? I'm in the wrong place. Well, next time it'll be a reappointment, so I'm just speaking in advance. Okay, let me get in the right place. Okay, here we are. All right. When I know I typically think about human rights, last Tuesday we had a lot of visitors here who, was advocating for the county to take action regarding what's going on over in the Middle East. And so that's more of a global conflict, global issue around human rights. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that looks like in Cuyahoga County? Maybe some of the things that you all...
I think one of the alarming trends that I'm seeing, reading in the news, is the fact that we continue to judge people by the way that they look or dress. I say that because at a young age we were often taught to sort of dress appropriately because people judge you. And I have seen an alarming trend where, especially amongst the LGBTQ plus community, there's, if it's not sort of obvious in a specific situation, at least as an observer, there's an attack on that community. And I generally view myself as an ally of all communities, whether that's gender, religion, sex, you name it, because I have often learned that one of the wonderful things about living in Northeast Ohio is its diversity of opinions, of politics, of religion. And so for me, as I'm a litigator, so I'm in the court system almost every day. When you're going through that process, the laws are in place for the benefit of all. And so one of the goals that I've had as a young adult now, and soon to be middle-aged adult, is that we have to respect laws because they're designed for the benefit of everyone. And we look at the media and former presidents, current presidents sort of under scrutiny. That's why our system works, because of the significant checks and balances we have here in Northeast Ohio. And I think Cuyahoga County, one of the challenges we have, and I've said this to people, and I'll say it here on the record, is we do have, unfortunately, quiet discrimination, where people that look a certain way live in a certain part of town, and that will take time to change, and that may not be the goal of this specific commission. But I think these are the things that I'm in tune to, and I'm comfortable speaking about, because we shouldn't judge people by their names or the color of their skin or their gender identity, because, and this is very, this is a true statement, people are inherently good. That is, to the extent people make mistakes or bad decisions, those are because perhaps nobody told them, hey, you can do better. So I view this role as really a privilege and an honor, because if we can change one person's trajectory and make one meaningful change in a decision that is rendered, I think that is to the benefit of the community, because it could serve as an example.
Thank you. Have any questions from my colleagues? Councilman
I do.
Miller? Yes, sir.
So, Madam Chair, to Mr. McHale, is that right?
Yes. Mikhail,
Yes.
like Mikhail Gorbachev.
Uh-huh, okay. So, I think your opening statement was very provocative. It seemed to suggest that the Human Rights Commission should do more than just hear the cases that come before it, but that you should be an active force in the community to promote equality and diversity and acceptance and community. And is that your perspective? And if yes, how do you think that could be best accomplished?
Yeah, I think Mr. Miller, thank you for the question. I think the role of an individual that serves on this commission is to follow the parameters of the bylaws and the code of conduct. So while I may have personal views, I think as it comes to evaluating claims of improper conduct, to look through that through the eyes of like Lady Justice. As an advocate in the courtroom, sir, I've represented both plaintiffs and defendants, companies and individuals. And so this role is, as I understand it in reading the description, is really there in an evaluative position to determine if, in fact, the alleged conduct has occurred and is there evidence to support it. And so, in my mind, until one produces evidence, it's just allegations, but allegations should be taken seriously.
Okay, thanks.
Anything further? Councilman Gallagher?
I'm happy to hear you answering like that, because the last individual that was up here, I asked him a question. It's like, you're really kind of like a dog without teeth. You know, there's no there as far as I'm concerned. And I was always concerned with this commission because of that, which is why there's never been a complaint to fruition in many years. And I don't think that's because of lack of problems in the world in which we live. I think it's lack of the way this has been structured. So while it sounds good on paper and in the four corners of what the commission does, it's almost like window dressing. And I don't think that commission would be smart to go out advocating, like you said. You know, you got to be independent, really, and looking at the facts and figures. So it's really, I'm just wondering if this is just a commission of window dressing, or because if you do have a concern, you go to court. You're in this world, federal court. And most anybody that would end up in federal court probably doesn't want to be on the other side of the complaint. So I'm wondering, where do we go from here?
Yeah, I mean, I think these are good questions, Mr. Gallagher. I think I view this as a forum. That is, one could file an OCRC complaint, one can file an EEOC complaint, one can run to a courthouse. And so I view this commission as an opportunity, likely for pro se litigants or prospective litigants, to come before the panel without the cost of counsel and to assert whatever claims they may have. I think that, I think the window dressing term I'm not sure that I have looked at it from that vantage point. I do think that people need to know their rights. I mean, there's a whole push, in November, get people to vote, know who's on the ballot, learn about your state rep, et cetera. I think here, likely the hurdle that we've seen, and you've mentioned that no complaint has come sort of full circle, is the notion that people just don't know about the commission. I do think, I look at this that I'm uniquely situated because I've done I have an eclectic practice, which I didn't talk about, and certainly I'm happy to talk about, but I've represented people from all gambits of society, and so I think that gives me a unique perspective because when you're representing a billionaire versus somebody from East Cleveland, as I have, it's very different in how you sort of undertake that representation and what you share with them, and that there's always two sides to a story, at least two sides. Sometimes there's 3, 4, 5, 6. But I think it's an important service to the community because some folks just don't have the ability to navigate the formal complaint process, whether it's with the EEOC or with the court system. And it's very complicated. I tell people that it may be easy for a lawyer like me who advocates for a living, but it could be very complicated and overwhelming for folks that otherwise don't have that experience or opportunity to navigate. But I view it not as window dressing, but as an alternative forum for those folks that want to have an opportunity to present their story.
I was in the courts for almost 30 years, and believe me, I have great respect for the attorneys that represent, especially that help the pro ses, that walk them through it. It's very complicated. It shouldn't be that complicated, but it is, and it continues to get even more complicated, which is really unfair, especially to the pro se litigants. So and even in oral arguments, like you said, I'd hear an argument from the appellant, and I'm like, okay, this guy got railroaded, and then the appellee comes in, you're like, uh-oh, wait a minute, the other side of the coin. So it's really a balancing act, and not that I'm against this commission, I was concerned with what does it do and where does it go? And it seems like from inception, we're still there. So are you saying that advertising or?
It seems to me, the exact mechanics are unknown to me and how to go about that, but to get community engagement and buy-in, again, I think simply informing community leaders that there's a forum here available to individuals that may have claims. And I view this as an alternative to other forums. I think I've said it and I really believe it. It's easy to make allegations, but it's often challenging to prove them. And you, having sit on the bench, know that. And so I think if we can allow people to assert claims in a formal complaint in a easy process, that gives them an opportunity to be heard. And I think if we're trying to assist our community and we're labeling Cuyahoga County one of the best counties in Ohio, at least anecdotally, that's what we're trying to do here. I think this is one way to show that we're a step ahead of the curve and in line with our other counties, whether within Ohio or outside of Ohio.
Thank you.
Okay, if there are no further questions, just want to thank you for that opening statement. It was very, very profound. Thank you for the work that you will do on this commission. Fair, impartial, maybe not final, but the characteristics of justice symbolized by the blindfold she wears and by the scales and sword she holds we hope that that will be obtained by anyone seeking a resolve in your body. So again, thank you for your service. I am going to move this forward to the full body of council for second reading under suspension of the rules. May I have a second? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Resolution 2024-0115, confirming the county executive's reappointment of Natalia Steele to serve on the Commission on Human Rights for the term March 1st, 2023 through February 28th, 2025.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the county executive pursuant to Cuyahoga County Charter Section 206.13, I'm here to recommend the reappointment of Natalia Steele to serve on the Commission on Human Rights for a term that started March 1st, 2024 and will end February 28th, 2026. We are requesting a second reading suspension. Thank you.
Excuse me, Ms. Taskos?
Yes.
Can you confirm that start? Was it March 1st, 2023 or 24? You said 24.
It is 23. I apologize.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Here is the reappointment. Good morning.
Good morning. I am Natalia Steele, and I am here to be heard on the reappointment to the commission.
Would you, share with us what your experience has been, a little bit about yourself for those who may be watching.
Sure. I am an attorney at a local law firm called Voorhees. I've been practicing for 17 years at this point. Started on litigation and currently have more of a transactional practice. But my passion really lies in advocating for those that cannot advocate for themselves. I am very much involved with Legal Aid Society and an organization that helps individuals in Ohio with name and sex change that are going through transition, and a variety of other volunteer organizations that I participate in. In my experience on the commission has been, it's been rather quiet, as Mr. Gallagher noted, and I think some others on the board. The commission has not had many cases brought before it so far, and in a way, I think it maybe is a function of availability of other avenues for individuals to address their problems and grievances. However, as Mr. McHale just noted before me, another issue is that the commission is not really well known around town, and we have, as a commission over the last term, have tried to make more of an effort to be out in the community, just talking about the existence of the commission and how it can be an add-on or an additional avenue for individuals to resolve the issues that they see with various facets of discrimination that still exists, including partnering with Legal Aid and with a couple of other local organizations to just bring awareness about the existence of the commission and the service that it can provide to individuals. So in talking to my fellow committee member that is also renewing his term this time around, we want to do more of that. We want to be, again, more out in the community, again, not advocating, but making it known that there's another way of addressing disputes and resolving them before they have to devolve into court actions, before. This is kind of how I view our service as a commission, in that we have an opportunity to assist individuals with issues that they see, whether in housing, employment, or other type of situation where they find themselves and feel discriminated against, get to the issue and help resolve it before it needs to be in court, before any kind of money needs to be spent, before things can spin out of control and take a life of their own. So that's been my take on where we are, where we can go, and how we can help.
Okay. Any questions for? There she is, a rock star. Okay, so awareness, that's a challenge, and you're looking forward.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
And the complaints that we've had come before us so far have actually been referred to other agencies that have a different mission from ours. So we've had a number of complaints come before us that were true employment discrimination issues that the committee felt truly belong with EOC. And so every time a complaint comes before us, we do that triage and understand, is it within our mission to assist or refer the individual somewhere else? And we definitely take our time to be thoughtful about that. And so the fact that we haven't seen a case to fruition is not necessarily a kind of reflection on the commission, but maybe on how efficiently we do our work and finding other ways of resolving an issue before it needs to be fully tried before us.
Okay. Well, seeing as we have no other
I'm grateful for
questions
Mr.
you.
McHale going before me because I've had a chance to think through everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll just leave you with this, that when the world is silent, even one voice becomes profound. Thank you for using your gifts and talents to serve those who need it. We thank you again for signing back up for another term. Maybe we can work on some ways to try to bring more awareness to the commission. I have some ideas already, so I'll reach out.
Yeah, I think we have a meeting scheduled on the 17th of May to start.
17th of May.
So I'd be grateful for your
Okay.
ideas.
Okay, well, I look at, can you make sure I get like an invitation to that
Absolutely.
meeting? Is that possible?
Yes.
Is that possible?
Definitely.
They say yes.
All right, well, thank you. I look forward to that invitation. And with that being said, we'll go ahead and move that forward to the full body of council for second reading under suspension. It's been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your
Thank you
day.
for your time.
Okay, here.
Resolution 2024-0124, confirming the county executive's appointment of Jasmine Santana to serve on the Cuyahoga County Women's Health Commission for the term May 1st, 2024 through April 30th, 2026.
Madam Chair, on behalf of the county executive and pursuant to section 206.03 of the Cuyahoga County Code, I'm here to recommend the appointment of Councilwoman Jasmine Santana to the Women's Health Commission for an initial 2-year term that will start May 1st, 2024. We are requesting a second reading suspension, and this is the last of the Women's Health Commission appointments, but not least.
Of course not. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam
Councilwoman.
Chair. Councilwoman Jasmine Santana here. So I am sure many of you are aware of my work at Cleveland City Council, but I thought that today I would share a little bit of my background and why I am so excited to be here today and been appointed to this Women's Health Commission. So to start, once again, Councilwoman Jasmine Santana, representing Ward 14, which is on the near west side. I represent a high demographic of Latino community, and as previous appointees that were here, immigrant newcomers that are coming to the Ward 14 neighborhood, I am the chair of Workforce and Majority Whip, and the first Latina to ever serve on Cleveland City Council. But my love for health, women's health, comes as a child. I grew up with a mom who experienced depression and anxiety. We grew up in an area that did not have a name, which now is Detroit Shoreway. We experienced I witnessed a lot of domestic violence. We grew up in not having stable housing, blighted community, which we now call social determinants of health. And this was my experience as a child. So when I grew up, I wanted to give back and I wanted to work with women. So I decided to apply for Metro Health Medical Center. And I was hired as the community outreach director for a program that was newly started, or even it was just a proposal at that point in 2006, because women Black and brown communities were presenting with late-stage breast cancer that lived right down the street from Metro Health. So in 2006, I started the first Breast and Amigas program. The breast program was a screening program that offered mammograms and breast exam and education, and we partner with several organizations. And then the Amigas program was a breast cancer liaison type of Mary Kay, think about, the ambassadors and that style, where we educated them, we trained them, we certified them, and then they went out into the community to educate others about the importance of early breast cancer detection and education. That program still exists at Metro Health. At that time when I was running it, we had screened more than 500 women. We found 26 breast cancers at early stage, at the early stage, and this was before Obamacare, so most of these women did not have health insurance, and we improved access to care. When Councilwoman, when you were talking about what does equity mean, it's just fair treatment, right? It's access to care, it's language, it's hiring doctors that look and speak like you and understand your culture. So that is something that I could bring to the group. And then currently as a councilwoman, I am working on safe housing and transportation and, combating racism and discrimination and domestic violence. And currently, just recently, I passed the free hygiene feminine product, which was a part of improving women's equity and health across our city of Cleveland. So this is just some of the background. I could go on, but I know that I heard in the email, read in the email, it was 3 minutes, so I could go on and on about my passion about women's health, but I'm just really excited about this opportunity, and thank you all.
Oh, thank you. Gracias. I'm so grateful that you shared some of that background and your story with us. We all know that you are a leader, a prolific leader, a lover of your community, and you use all your gifts and talents to serve tirelessly. And we have those same expectations for you here with this commission. And I thank you. I know that you have a lot on your plate already, but your experience, your background, it will definitely be an asset to the commission. And so I'm going to ask my colleagues if they have anything for the councilwoman at this time. Martin Sweeney.
Martin Sweeney. Hello, Madam Majority Whip. How are you?
Hi, Councilman Sweeney.
You're very humble, and everybody sees that, but they don't know you're a bad astronaut. And that's what they're getting on this Women's Health Committee. And I have no doubt.
Commission.
My bad. I was commission. I get flustered when I talk to her. I get a little nervous. But when you get on, I know it's going to be the drive and you're going to demand and command the interest and the notoriety that this commission needs. So I can't thank you. And you got a whole bunch of other stuff to do. But it looks like you're parking other things and coming in here. I'm looking forward to you being that driving force that's needed. So.
Thank you, Councilman. I always say healthy women is a healthy household, and it's a healthy community, it's a healthy nation. So this is the most important thing that me as a leader that I could work on, and ensuring that women are healthy.
And respected. Thank you, Madam Chairwoman and Madam Majority Whip. I look forward to keep working with you.
Thank you.
And I see this as a companion to the commission that was created on the Cleveland side, right? And, let's not compartmentalize this work. Let's try to find a way to work together. I know I had spoken to Councilwomen House, Jones, and Councilwoman Gray about some synergy in some ways that we can support each other's missions. So again, we're here to just make this easy for you to serve because, again, it's a volunteer role and you don't have a lot of time. So I want to thank you again for your service. I want to thank County Executive Chris Ronayne
Yes,
for
for sure.
thinking of you in this space, and Zoe for all of her work. So I'll go ahead and move this to the full body of council for second reading under suspension of the rules. May I have a second?
Second? She's my constituent. I
Been
need
moved and
this.
seconded, all in,
Choose.
okay, the second was
Sweeney.
Sweeney. Okay, it's
Yeah.
been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Please add my name,
Me?
And,
Councilman Sweeney, Miller,
and Madam Chair,
Gallagher.
Ms. Santana, Sweeney insisted that he get the second because you're his constituent.
I never did that before. He ain't muscling me on this one.
But I still get to add my name.
Thank you.
Yes, please make sure that the councilman's name is added as well as all of ours. And I'm sure if the Councilwoman Conwell was here, she would add her name too, but we will wait for her to give us that. So thank you. We release you back to your day. Thank you again for your
Thank
service.
you, Madam Chair and council members.
Thank you.
Ordinance 2024-0003, amending the Personnel Review Commission's administrative rules.
Good morning. It's still
Good morning. Sun is still shining.
shining.
Rebecca Kopczynski for the Personnel Review Commission this morning. I'm here with George Vaughn, who is our Manager of Employment Testing. He's going to help to answer any questions you might have today. I'm here to make a brief presentation on some changes that we're proposing to the PRC's administrative rules. We're doing this to comply with Ordinance 2015-0010, which requires the PRC to come before County Council rather than the Administrative Rules Board to propose changes to our rules to ensure that our rules are in compliance with the human resources policies that are established by the county code. I think you've all been provided with the summary of changes that we sent over here today. I'm just going to talk very briefly about the highlights. I'm not going to go through all of them. Many of them are formatting or small details in the changes. I'm going to highlight the big ones. Right? What am I doing wrong, Sharon? Is that it? There we go. Okay, thank you. So many of the changes that I'm going to talk to you today about just fall into four basic categories. The first changes that we're going to go through just basically are trying to ensure consistency between our rules and the county charter or county code or county ordinances that have been passed recently. So we're trying to play catch up in those. Some of them are changes to clarify the PRC's authority and jurisdiction vis-a-vis the HR department in some cases. Some of that change arose out of clarity that came from the last round of charter review change, which was, years ago at this point, we know, but we're trying to catch up. The third category includes changes that we're proposing to ensure more efficient operations in our agency. And the last category is to actually enhance some of our processes to support the county's efforts to fill vacant positions, which continues to, be a challenge for us. The first group of proposed changes to ensure consistency between the rules and these other sources of legislation are changes to sections 2, 3, 6, 9, and 12 to clarify that first, that determination of classified or unclassified status shall be done by council in accordance with general law. So I know that's small and hard to read. But as well as with ordinance or code. This is in addition to the general law, which has been the language which was in place for a number of years. Also, we're proposing language to clarify that the PRC does have authority to create rules and policies, but those have to be in accordance with the HR policies that are established by ordinance. One of the proposed changes is to clarify the PRC's duty to conduct inquiries and to clarify in particular that that is in furtherance of the agency's duty to audit and report on compliance with local, state, and federal employment laws. We're proposing additional changes to sections 2, 7, 8, and 9 to match the county's EEO diversity policy to expand the list of protected classes to include citizenship status, sexual preference and orientation, gender identity and expression, and status with regard to public assistance. We're also proposing to modify our rules to match the county handbook because the county did in fact remove language that required probationary employees to finish their probationary period before they could apply for a promotion, and that's been removed, so we want to be consistent with that as well. And then finally, changes that we're proposing to sections 3 and 12 are to clarify that bargaining unit employees, in fact, can file claims of retaliation for whistleblower actions with the PRC, and also that those complaints are, in fact, appealable to the Court of Common Pleas. The next group of proposed changes clarify the PRC's authority and jurisdiction, and some of our procedures, in fact, some of these are also designed to ensure compliance with other regulations as well. So the changes we're proposing to sections 3, 6, and 12 clarify that the PRC does not have authority to ensure compliance with federal, state, and local personnel-related local laws. That was language that was in the charter from the beginning that we were able to successfully change. And we are now operating in compliance with the change that was made in the charter, which is we have responsibility to audit, review, report on, make recommendations on, but it's ultimately the county's responsibility and the HR department's responsibility to ensure compliance with those laws. Another clarification we're proposing is to ensure consistency with the charter because it's been changed to clarify that the PRC's authority to administer in class and comp systems is limited to systems that govern the classified non-bargaining unit employees. The changes we're proposing to Section 7 clarify that the PRC posts eligibility lists on our website, and HR is responsible for posting job vacancies on their website. And finally, changes to Sections 8, 9, 10, and 13 clarify that the appointing authorities can actually submit a request for additional certifications of an eligibility list to the HR department. We also added language to clarify that the public defender's employees can also file appeals to the PRC. That's just a clarification of jurisdiction. The changes that we're proposing to Section 10 actually clarify the process for conducting new examinations and merging new names onto an existing eligibility list. This is to comply with also an ordinance that was passed right after the COVID pandemic hit, and we wanted to be able to offer people who were in quarantine because they'd been exposed or who had actually been diagnosed with COVID an opportunity to take a test without having to come in. At the time, we were still doing in-person testing. So this is what this change is about, is basically to ensure that folks who, for some reason, who are unable to take a test because of a public health crisis, essentially, can come in later, take the test, and if they pass it and are successful, can be added to the eligibility list. We also have added language to clarify that an appointing authority must extend at least 3 conditional offers to applicants on an established eligibility list before any names can be removed from that list. And finally, a couple of changes that we're proposing to Sections 8 and 9. The first is to eliminate a 4-month waiting period, which we've had on the rules in the rules for some time, for applicants who want to take the same test again. This had been something that one of the county's previous HR directors felt very strongly about. He didn't want to have a retesting effect, but the previous administration and in fact the current administration also agree that we should eliminate this 4-month waiting period as a means of drawing more applicants into the selection process. And finally, the last changes that we're proposing to Section 9 pertain to our practices and how we treat TIDE scores on our tests. So we're proposing that candidates with TIDE scores receive the same rank on an eligibility list. And when the last applicant to be placed on an eligibility list is tied with other applicants, that all of those names will be certified to the appointing authority. It used to be we would cut off based on an alphabetical ranking of the names of people who were tied. Now we're treating them all equitably and moving them all forward for consideration for hire. And that pretty much sums it up. I'm happy to answer any questions. George can answer questions as well, if you have any.
Just a few. Very comprehensive summary. We've heard in the past that the county has had challenges improving the time to hire. Recognizing that this is a cross-agency effort, are there any changes being proposed to the administrative rules that would shorten the overall process?
Morning, council members. George Vaughn from the Personnel Review Commission. None of these changes are directly intended to address that, but our operational improvements in our efficiency ideally will lead to that. Over the past couple of years, because we have implemented our online testing platform, our part of the process has been reduced to its lowest point since the PRC began civil service testing. We've just about reached our optimal outcome for that. We'll continue to look at it, try to find improvements where we can, but I feel as though we've, like I mentioned, reduced that about as low as we can get it.
And one of the proposed changes clarifies that the PRC will protect the confidentiality of applicants to the extent possible. What concerns are you trying to address with this language? And have there been challenges in protecting the confidentiality of applicants?
We haven't encountered any challenges. This was just to kind of clarify our process now that we have our online testing platform. Previously, when we would go through testing, we would assign candidates ID numbers so that their names wouldn't appear on any of their test documents, so there was no chance of a bias being involved when they were being scored. On our online testing platform, however, we don't have that functionality. Candidates sign up to take it, they're using their name. That's the only way that they can access the platform. So we wanted to make sure the rule reflected that, you know, to the best of our ability, we will maintain their confidentiality, but the process as originally written in the administrative rules wouldn't apply anymore.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Any questions from my colleagues?
Just one.
Councilman?
Rule, charter, codified ordinance, code. Definition of rule here. I mean, that's the least powerful one. And so does it have to always be followed since it's a rule? Because that's just my question.
My understanding, Councilman, is that because they come before council and they are approved, that they have the same force of law as any other legislation that council passes. And so we follow them like a Bible.
Did you say like a Bible? Beautiful.
Pretty strict. It's part of our commitment to equity. I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
I'm just defining it through the chair. When I hear rule, I hear charter, rock solid. I hear codified ordinance, and I hear code. They're all established by, when I hear rule, there's some wiggle room in some people's definition of a rule. So you're clarifying it through the chair that since a rule is voted on by council, it's just like a codified ordinance.
That's how we roll.
Okay, and through the law director, is that, I'm just trying to hammer this. Just through the chair to our law director, just the word rule doesn't have the strength of codified ordinance in my own legislative career. Oh, it's a rule, so it's not really enforceable. But if it's a codified ordinance, if it's in the charter, or if it's a code, my determination is it's been voted on, it's the lay of the land, and that's how we have to do it. I'm just talking about the word rule and the definition of it with this particular PRC situation. And I'm not fighting it, I'm just trying to protect it as much as possible if ever it gets to a point of a discussion of the word.
Again, an ordinance, as you stated, would be voted on by council. A rule, as my understanding, is not. So there would be a minute difference, but that would be all. I think that's understanding what you're trying to.
And you're probably not understanding my mind, so I'm going to relinquish the question. But I mean, you answered it for me, but we just call it a rule, but it's really part of the codified ordinances.
The Mind of Martin J. That's
be tight sometimes.
the title of a book.
And loose sometimes.
Thank you, Councilman,
Break
for
the
that
rule
question.
and try to get around it.
Let's see. One further question about when a name has been certified to an appointing authority, what could be a possible justification to remove that person from the eligibility list? And then, what's the process of how the next name comes up to replace that person?
Yes, in our administrative rules, we have a number of reasons to remove someone. They include if the candidate requests it, if they've declined a conditional offer, if they have appeared on 3 certifications but have not been extended an offer, if they fail their pre-employment background check or their drug or alcohol screen, if they fail to appear for an interview, if they've been requested for an interview by the hiring department or HR, if we are unable to contact them and therefore they can't participate in the process further, and if we determine that they have at all deceived us, the county, HR, practice fraud in the process, all of those would be reasons that they could be removed from the eligibility list. Typically, those are at the department's request because, for example, if a person declines a conditional offer, but maybe in the future they could see a situation in which they would be interested and the county really likes them as a potential candidate, they wouldn't be automatically removed, only if the department requested it so they could get to the next person on the eligibility list and consider them for hire. And then after someone is removed at the request of the appointing authority through HR, if they needed another name to consider, because our goal is to always provide at least 10 or the top 25% remaining from the eligibility list, we would give them the next name or names that are remaining on the eligibility list so they could have that full group to consider.
Okay, that's how that works. Okay, thank you for clarifying. Councilman Miller.
Madam Chair, Ms. Kopczynski, how long has this administrative rule set of changes been in the works?
I believe that we started discussing this right after the charter change happened in 2018.
2000 and what?
2018.
So it's been
But let me, if I could.
5 years plus?
It's been multiple years. Shortly thereafter, the person who used to do this on our staff was our staff attorney, and she resigned. And we began the process to try and fill that position, and then COVID hit. And our attention got redirected to what can we do about remote testing. And so it took us almost a year to fill that staff attorney position. That happened in 2021. Once that started, we started this process up relatively soon after she came on board. But what happened was, in the meantime, other changes were happening. Ordinances were changing, code was changing, so we would stop, take a breath, roll them in, and propose additional changes before they actually got moved by council. So it's been a multi-year process.
So you've obviously spent a lot of time deep in the weeds.
Yeah.
So I just want to compliment you for your ability to pull all of this together into a document that's consistent with the code and the charter. It's a lot of work.
Thank you. It's been a team effort.
I support your efforts. Thank you.
It is a team effort, and you all are amazing. So thank you for all that you do for us. Seeing as that there are no more questions, any final thoughts? You're good? All right.
Well, thank you.
Okay, I'll make the motion to move this item to the full body of council for second reading.
Second?
Then it's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. Would you
Thank
add
you
my
very
name?
much.
Okay, all right, thank you. Okay, is there any miscellaneous business? Seeing that there is none, this meeting is adjourned.